Hello, everyone. Please welcome Google Cloud's Head of Developer Communities, Ashley Willis.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here for as long as you have. I'm sure you were like, I'm ready to go. My name is Ashley Willis. I'm Head of Developer Communities at Google Cloud. I'm also a wife and mother to 3 beautiful kids, some of whom are watching today. Thanks for watching. And today I'd like to talk about something a little bit different than my colleagues have been on stage. It's something that affects all of us in one way or another, and that thing is burnout. Needless to say, I am not a doctor. I cannot diagnose any of you with burnout, but I have experienced this numerous times over my careers, but we're going to talk more about that later. Today's talk will focus on why I think burnout exists, some of the ways that you can identify it, and for the managers in the room, I'm going to give you some tips to keep you from burning your people out. But first, I think it's helpful to start with a definition of burnout. Burnout can be really difficult to describe because it's not necessarily one medical condition in itself. But according to the APA Dictionary of Psychology, burnout is defined as physical, emotional, or mental exhaustion accompanied by decreased motivation, lowered performance, and negative attitudes towards oneself and others. Is any of this starting to sound a little bit too familiar? Yep. Yes? Good. So be honest, this is a very safe space. This is a small room. How many of you have experienced burnout? Yes. The good and bad news is that you are not alone. Employee well-being is a new workplace imperative, and we are hearing our managers talk a lot about employee morale, what can we do for people, and the term quiet quitting is kind of setting the internet on fire. So a recent Gallup study cited that about 74% of workers have experienced burnout on the job, and 40% said that they experienced it specifically during the pandemic. And I don't know about you, but I found those numbers to be shocking. And because it's so hard to recover from burnout, people will sometimes leave entire industries trying to escape it. For example, I used to be a commercial photographer, a software engineer, and as you may have noticed by my slides, I was also a graphic designer, or still am. An Ashley of all trades, if you will. So I ran a consulting business for about 10 years. My business was actually doing well, it was thriving, but I had burnt out so bad that I decided to do something completely new, learn a completely new skill in my 30s, and then I entered the corporate world again, and here I am. So why are we like this? I think that there are a few things that factor into burnout, but the one that I'd like to talk about today is status. A status symbol used to be a nice car or a fancy watch, or maybe you live in a really nice house, but the point is that status was visible to the world. And now I think status is about being busy. We're keeping up with the Joneses along with a fancy car or a nice watch. I see you all pre-ordering your Teslas. So imagine for a moment that somebody's like, hey, how are you doing? The normal answer is, oh man, I'm really busy, or I'm really tired, because we are overscheduled. We even overschedule our kids. Our vacations are scheduled, all of it. If your calendar isn't filled with back-to-backs, are you even important? If you are not sharing a selfie at that tourist trap, did you even vacation? By the way, this is Hootie the Owl, and if you are looking for a good owl cafe in Tokyo, hit me up. I know where to send you. Which brings me to social media. So social media is involved in every aspect of our daily lives. We are more online than ever, and we are constantly sharing the highlight reels. But it's not enough just to be on social media anymore. We all want to be influencers. We want all of the likes and all of the engagement. We really need that attention. And so we're trying to keep up with our peers, and we've prioritized this public perception over our own mental health. And through social psychology, we actually know that this negatively increases the frequency of our own self-evaluation, of our appearance, our health, and even our jobs. I like to say that every like equals 1 serotonin, and that might not be too far from the truth, because my little heart flutters every time I see a notification. I'm like, yes, more likes. So it's kind of like that 1985 Oscar speech from Sally Fields where she's like, you like me, you really like me. So that's normal though. We require connection. And in fact, connection is known to reduce anxiety, stress, and depression. Socializing helps us learn to navigate and cope with life's challenges and can boost our self-esteem. And it also helps us avoid loneliness. So in a lot of ways, social media helps us create those connections. But the life that we lead on social media is an idealized version of ourselves. We are not connecting authentically. So it's no wonder we're all stressed out. We're constantly trying to keep up. We're constantly doom scrolling, and we're constantly available. If I don't answer that call or that text, will they think I'm lazy or unreliable? What if they reach out to somebody instead? How can I be the hero in this situation? Which leads to what I like to call the hero syndrome. The addiction to being a hero is no different than any other addiction. As a hero, you spend most of the time trying to save the day and not enough time sharing knowledge with other people. That lack of knowledge transfer can cause many single points of failure across your business, also known as the Lotto Factor. Take Jane, for example, who works as a software engineer at a fast-growing startup. If Jane wins the lotto tomorrow, she is not coming to work. So who can pick up Jane's workload when she doesn't show up? Because no matter hardworking or heroic Jane might be, she will ultimately burn herself out. Nobody can keep up that pace forever. So do not be a hero is the lesson you should learn from that. So how long do you think it takes to recover from burnout? A month? 6 weeks? All of you are wrong. The answer is going to surprise you because it surprised me. On average, it takes 2 years to recover from burnout. That's right. Which makes sense because it probably took you just as long to get there in the first place. Burnout does not happen over a single project. It's caused by repetitive stress and lack of work-life balance over several years. The trouble is that by the time you feel like you're burnt out, you're probably already there, and that's why taking your vacation does not always help. Vacation should be proactive instead of reactive. So now that we've talked about some of the reasons why I think burnout exists, let's talk about what the burnout cycle looks like. There's 7 phases here, and I'm going to take you through those now. So phase 1 is the honeymoon phase. I am really excited about this. I'm happy, I'm committed, I'm energetic. And this is especially true when we've started a new job. We're solving hard problems and we have this compulsion to prove ourselves. That's normal. Your productivity levels are at an all-time high. It's great. Phase 2 is the onset of stress. This phase begins with an awareness that some days are more difficult than others, and you find that you're just not as optimistic as you once were. You're more tired than normal, like sleepy all day and then up all night thinking about work. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Yes? Phase 3 is neglecting yourself. By this point, some people are postponing self-care just to get the job done, and nobody likes pepperoni on their keyboard. Maybe you're ordering takeout because you don't have enough time to cook a healthy meal. I spend way too much money on DoorDash. Or maybe you're just dunking your kids' dino nuggets in ketchup and sadness. Another example might be you canceling plans because you just cannot enjoy a night out with that looming workload. It's terrible. Maybe you're engaging in really unhealthy coping mechanisms like drinking too much just to get your mind to stop racing. Phase 4 is interpersonal problems at home and at work. And that's my kid, who I'm completely ignoring. And so is your family checking in a lot? Is the vibe just generally off? There's a tension and you can't really put your finger on it, but work is really stressful, and that's starting to bleed into your home life. You're snapping at your kids, you're canceling plans, the things that you used to love just aren't as much fun anymore. Does it sound a little bit like depression? That's probably because burnout is often diagnosed as depression. When we reach this phase, we're just not present anymore. And I don't know about you, but I feel like a bad partner, a bad coworker, a bad parent. It feels like I'm failing everyone, so why bother trying? Phase 5 is reduced performance and cognitive problems. That's right. That's me just scrolling through TikTok. So burnout and chronic stress is actually known to interfere with your ability to pay attention and concentrate. Distracted breaks become much longer, and you just can't seem to concentrate no matter how hard you try. And when we're stressed, our attention narrows and even small tasks become a huge burden. So there I am again, spending my afternoon on TikTok because I know I have a lot of work to do, I just don't know how to do it. So phase 6, I cannot get excited about work anymore. By this point, I'm done, I'm 3 cups of coffee in, we're done. But now I'm feeling a little bit cynical about my working conditions and even my coworkers. I can't seem to get ahead no matter how hard I try, and the workload is so big that I don't even know how to ask for help at this point. Phase 7 is physical symptoms. So experts know that chronic stress can create real health problems like digestive issues, heart disease, and depression. And according to an ITA group study, employees who say that they burned out are 23% more likely to visit an emergency room. When you're tired all day and thinking about work all night, of course that's going to trigger something physical. And phase 8 is total burnout. And here you can see my soul departing to the great work stream in the sky. It's at this point that I just do not trust myself anymore, and I doubt whether or not I'm even qualified for my job. By now, I feel like the only way to recover is to find a new job. And spoiler alert, that's not going to help you either. That is merely a Band-Aid for a much larger problem. And this isn't necessarily a phase, but as a developer, I thought that this was a really cool visual of burnout. You can see that really strong commit history in those first 2 years. And this is from Johnny Holloman on Twitter. He's great, but he said that what got him there was 5 years working day and night on his own app. So you can see by years 3 and 4, that's total burnout. He's done. He's not committing anymore. He's done. And there have been some studies that talk about open source and burnout. And for anyone that's contributing to open source, if you're not doing it as part of your job, developers say that it gives them energy, which makes a lot of sense. But if you're like Johnny and you're trying to get paid through open source, it's really hard to say no, and it can lead to burnout. So we'll talk about boundary setting a little bit later. I think that that's really important. But if you're feeling any of this, here's the good news. There really are things that you can do about it. And I found that some of the things I'm going to list in a minute were really helpful. So here are 7 tips to help you avoid burnout. The first one is to get clarity. A Gallup study cited that actually only half of workers know what's expected of them. Think about that for a moment. Do you know what's expected of you? Raise your hands if you do. I see you here, yes. All workers, though, regardless of age or stage in their career, want to know what's expected of them. And those lack of clear expectations will create anxiety and frustration. Even if your employees feel energized, those who lack clear expectations and spend too much time working on the wrong things can't create value for their organization. And they will exhaust themselves trying to figure out what it is that they are supposed to be doing. Number 2 is to stop multitasking. You're not good at it, I promise. You're really not. Multitasking actually reduces your productivity because your brain can only focus on one thing at a time. The more we multitask, the less we achieve and learn. It's because we divide our attention and don't allow enough time and space to do deeper processing and learning. This continued context switching definitely leads to burnout. So if you're at capacity and your manager asks you to do one more thing, ask your manager to help you prioritize your to-do list. What is something that you can drop to take on this new thing? The short answer is that it cannot be the baby. We cannot drop the baby. Number 3 is to set healthy boundaries. Listen, we cannot be mad at our managers for asking us what we can handle. We are all adults here, and your manager expects you to know and communicate your limits. Saying no helps you and your coworkers. Your entire organization actually benefits from you setting healthy boundaries because when you burn out from being a hero, who has to pick up your workload? Likely your peers. Burnout is contagious. It creates both upstream and downstream implications for everyone involved. Number 4 is to take control of your notifications. Every time your phone buzzes, you get that shot of dopamine, but your body is tensing and reacting. It's spending energy needlessly. Unless you're on pager duty, there is nothing that cannot wait until tomorrow. Number 5 is to find something outside of work that you're passionate about. This is me nicely asking you to get a hobby. Please, all of you get a hobby. Something that's challenging and engaging, because research shows that if people with hobbies are less likely to suffer from stress and depression. When you stake your entire self-worth on your job, you become less resilient to things like layoffs or negative performance reviews. It also makes it really hard to switch off after work. Number 6 is to have a clear separation between home and work. Is the Roomba cat landing? That's my favorite part. So I understand that having a dedicated workspace is not a privilege that everyone has. But where you work plays a huge role in your productivity. If you work in front of the TV, you're basically setting yourself up for an unplanned Netflix marathon. Speaking of, has everyone seen season 4 of Stranger Things? It's great. I highly recommend it. But the point is that having a dedicated space for work that's a healthy distance from your relaxing and eating spaces will create that separation from home and work, which is very important for healthy work-life balance. Number 7 is to get enough sleep. Sleep deprivation and burnout actually go hand in hand. In fact, the National Sleep Foundation says that sleeping less than 6 hours a night is one of the best predictors of on-the-job burnout. Most of us have an awareness that sleeping better will help us perform better at work, but a lot of us have a hard time putting that into practice. And you're not alone, because the National Sleep Foundation did a poll in 2018 that showed only 10% of American adults actually prioritize their sleep. And I have also found that 0% of children prioritize their parents' sleep. So you might as well get it while you can. So now that I've given you some tips to help you identify and avoid burnout as an individual, I'd like to dedicate some time to helping the managers in the room. This is arguably the most important section of my presentation, because I believe that poor management is directly responsible for burnout. A Harvard Business Review survey revealed that 58% of people trust a stranger more than their own boss. And employees who feel strongly supported by their managers are 70% less likely to burn out. So here are some tips for you managers. Be clear about your expectations. I made this comic as a joke, but you're in a one-on-one, and your manager's like, hey, what's the status of that thing? And you're like, I didn't even know about that thing. Those are the unspoken objectives. And I am totally nailing them, always. So how many of you here have experienced this? Yes, there's some hands that should be up, I know it. But as a manager, it is your job to remove this guesswork that creates anxiety. Make sure that you are communicating early and often. And repeat yourself until you're sick of hearing it, because the average person needs to hear something 7 times before they act on it. 7 times. Side note, this is also a great tip for when you need to get laundry or dishes done. Yeah, 7 times to your kids, for those of you. Okay. Number 2 is to help them understand their value. Why is meaning and purpose. It's there to guide you and your employees through the day-to-day, and when your employees know why they're doing something, they're more enthusiastic and dedicated. Everyone wants to know that what they're doing is meaningful, otherwise what's the point? 3, enforce reasonable work hours, and that doesn't always mean 9 to 5. My working hours might not be your working hours, but if a project is taking someone 80 hours a week to complete, then as a manager, I have a resource problem that I need to solve. Number 4, try not to send email or messages after work. There's that schedule button in your email. We should use that. Do not underestimate the influence you have on your team. People will feel obligated to respond to you, even if you tell them that they do not have to. I see some of you in your signature line. You're like, you only respond on your own time, whatever. It doesn't matter what you say, it only matters what you do. Number 5, encourage people to take all of their vacation time, and you take yours as well. You need to model the behavior that you want to see. And many people don't take vacation because they have anxiety about the workload that they will have when they return. So as a manager, meet with your people and see what you can remove from their plate so that they can relax while they're out. Number 6, have regular one-on-ones and actively listen. Do they sound stressed out or overworked? Can you take something off of their plate? If you're taking notes during the one-on-one, you are not actively listening. Remember what I said about multitasking? You're not good at it. So I suggest that you recap at the end by saying, what I heard was, and then repeat back what you heard and send an email recap after the meeting. Number 7, do not only recognize the big wins. We do this a lot. Our jobs are mainly a combination of small wins, and us managers have a tendency to only recognize the big ones. So people crave recognition. Show them that you appreciate them early and often, otherwise they're going to kill themselves trying to figure out how they're supposed to gain your approval. And you will unintentionally create a bunch of competing heroes. So this next section is Q&A. I've done this talk a couple of times, and I have 3 questions here that I get asked the most. The first one is, I heard you say that it can take 2 years to recover from burnout, but I don't have 2 years. So I did consult a professional about this talk in general, but specifically this question. And my friend Lindsay Paoli is a licensed therapist and founder of the Mind Fundamentals. And she says that we often believe that this is an all or nothing thing, and it's not. If you start incorporating small things like movement, intention, deep connections, fresh air, go touch some grass, you'll start to see results. So she suggests you start layering these things into your day every single day while mindfully knowing why you're doing it. Like, hey, I'm feeling burnt out. These are the things I'm doing very intentionally. And then you will start to see results towards recovery. Question 2 is, I have a friend who's burnt out. How do I help them? We have a tendency to want to solve our friends' problems. Don't do that. Just listen. If they've never heard of burnout before, maybe you can forward them some articles and then suggest that they talk to a professional, or maybe send them this talk. Number 3 is, how do I restore work-life balance? Remember when I said you need to hear something 7 times, so this is number 2. Back to question number 1. Go outside, touch grass, move your body, talk to your friends, stop canceling your plans, figure out who on your team can help you with your workload, have an honest conversation with your manager. Your manager really does want you to succeed. Something that I did, though, was I turned my entire garage into a makerspace. I like to build things, so I put a 3D printer out there. I have a glow forge. I have all of my soldering stuff, and these are some of the things that I've done recently. It's a lot of fun. Highly recommend hacking on things. I'm going to add some lights to something here. But in closing, get a hobby, but also, if your family is telling you, like, hey, something's off, you need to slow down, those are the people that know you best and they want the best for you. Listen to them, take a moment, take a breath. We are all in this together, and I hope that everything that I've said here has helped you in some way. I will be mingling around here. I'm happy to talk about this at length. Thank you.